Grr, arg.
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Mixtape Podcast, a podcast dedicated to discussing film from a writer's perspective. I'm your host for this time around. My name is Marcelo Nestroza, joined as always by my fellow co-host, Dean Stark. And on today's edition of the show, we will be discussing the 2007 film 30 Days of Night. So, as I do every week, I will pass it over to Dean so she can take us through this film.
30 Days of Night is directed by David Slade, and it is written by Stuart Beattie, Brian Nelson, and Stephen Niles, and it is based upon the graphic novel by Steve Niles and Ben Templesmith. After an Alaskan town is plunged into darkness for a month, it's attacked by a bloodthirsty gang of vampires. So the opening scene, we have not cue cards. That's television talk. What's it called? Not cue cards. What's it called? Title cards. Fucking title cards. Fucking cue cards. Woo! Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. It says Barrow, Alaska, northernmost town in the US, isolated in 80 miles of roadless wilderness, cut off every winter for 30 days of night. So we have a close-up on a man's face. He's standing in the snow and he's looking out to a large ship in the near distance. He's just staring at it, and then he turns and he starts trudging through the snow until he gets to a small town, and he heads towards the town, and another title card comes up, Last Day of the Sun. So that was the opening scene. Thoughts?
Yeah, the opening scene to this movie is awesome because it just opens up on a guy. It's just a quick close up on a guy's face, and you pull back and you realize that he's looking at this boat stuck in this ice, and it's just the visuals and the photography of this guy standing there, staring at this boat for a second. But when he turns halfway around and starts walking, basically to nowhere, we think it's just a really striking visual to start out a movie, and like. And the second you start watching this movie, you get cold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I found that too.
It's like I need a jacket.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think the thing, because it's based on a graphic novel, there's a lot of information in the graphic novel that fans of the graphic novel would understand in the movie. But if you don't know anything about the novel, which I didn't get, like, for example, in that scene when he was looking out onto the ship, that never comes back. I didn't understand that. Is he from the ship? Is the ship marooned there? Is there nobody on the ship? Are there people on the ship? That didn't really, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I thought that was a very, very odd place to start a film. And like Dean said, that doesn't come back at all. So you're like, why have this in there if you're not going to make it back in any kind of way, unless, like Dean said, it's from the novel, and it's a tip of the cap to the fans who actually read the thing.
I think that it would be. So the first scene, we meet Eben, which is played by Josh Hartnett, and his deputy, and they're standing in the snow, and there's a hole in the snow near the town filled with burnt cell phones and satellite phones. And they're standing over it going, well, is this a bunch of kids that did it? Like, nobody, like, why would they do that? Usually if kids do that, they want recognition for it. But it just looked like someone shoveled a hole and then burnt a bunch of cell and satellite phones. But that's a precursor. Everything that's going to happen in the beginning and the setup is a precursor to what's going to happen, which is why I really, really like the writing of this movie. Now, they're wearing police uniforms, and Eben has an inhaler. Now, the inhaler is interesting because it comes back once at the end, but not enough to kind of warrant a setup for it. I don't know. But then there was a really beautiful shot of the sunset, and it's the last for the next 30 days. But yeah, the inhaler setup, there wasn't really a payoff for it. I didn't think that there was.
Yeah, I really like that setup of meeting the two, meeting Josh Hartnett's character and his deputy, and I did like that scene with the cell phones in the snow. I thought that was very ominous and very weird and very strange. And I did like how that's a setup for something that's going to happen later. Like Dean said, the thing with Josh Hartnett's inhaler, I was like, this is a cool thing that they could use, but in the way that they used it, I thought that was a waste of real estate. I thought him having an inhaler should have been more critical to the plot, but it kind of just wasn't. It was kind of there.
Yeah, I think maybe, again, it's probably from the graphic novel, which is why they put it in, which is fine. It's just that if you don't know the novel, then you're not going to get like a lot of the references in this, which doesn't...
They should have used it.
Yeah, they should have used it. I mean, it doesn't take away from the movie. It's just, for the people that don't know, then you don't know. But the next, it's interesting because I was reading through the script as I was watching the movie and as I was doing notes. I was multitasking is what I was doing. And this next scene was not actually in the shooting production script. This would have been a reshoot where we meet Stella, which is played by the Australian amazing actress Melissa George. We learn that Stella works for the fire department and she's leaving Barrow, Alaska, which is where we are. She's leaving on the last plane out. And a man that she's working with says, "Oh, I was hoping that you and Eben would rethink this separation thing." And that's that scene. So it sets Stella up as like what her job is, but again, her job doesn't really come back. Like she doesn't really have any skills from working for the fire. Usually when you give a character usually when you give a character a job, it's a skill set they can use in the script. But her working for the fire department, there's no skills that she really used in the movie that nobody else could have known. So I'm like, again, it's probably from the graphic novel. I don't have a problem with it. It's just because we do talk about from a screenwriter's perspective. I needed a little bit more. But this was a reshoot because it wasn't in the script. And the reason I think they put it in is because of what the guy says. I was hoping you and Eben would rethink the separation thing. It was an exposition dump. which is all it was. But you didn't need it because throughout the movie it's alluded to that something happened between them, but you never actually find out what happened. But anyway, with that, then we get multiple shots of people leaving the town because every winter, because it's 30 Days of Night, most of the people leave and go back to kind of, normalcy, and then they come back. So it's a really good precursor to most of the people are going to go and there's only going to be a few select people in this town. And also, you can't leave. Like if you're stranded there for the next 30 days, you're stranded. There's nowhere you can go. There's no pilots, there's no planes, there's nothing. And so that really is it's like I'm making this up, but it's like a coffin effect where it's like you can't move, you can't go anywhere, you're trapped. And I really, really like the setup to this. So go for it.
It's like being a ship in a bottle. You can't move. To address Stella being a firefighter and how that doesn't come back, I agree with you. She should have been a cop.
Yeah, that would have been better.
If she was a cop working with Josh Hartnett's character, that would have made a lot more sense than her being a firefighter for the town. I think that would have made a lot of sense, and I do feel that it was very exposition-y. I was like, there's another way that they could have done this, where it could have been more natural, and all this and that. But the way they kind of just blurted it out there, I was like, you guys could have done that better for sure.
So the next scene, Stella she's driving through the snow. It's so interesting. They've all got trucks, but I know they all drive so fucking fast, and I'm like, really?
You can't drive like that.
No, like even if you've got like chains on the tires and special like snow tires, I guess I don't know anything about tires, but they drive so fast. I'm like, oh my god! So she's driving so fast, and then she gets hit by a tractor that comes out of nowhere, and the guy says he lost control of it. He couldn't stop because he was probably driving too fast. And now she freaks out because she's like, I've got to get to the airport to get out of this place, because if she doesn't, she's fucking stranded there for 30 days of night, and she doesn't want that. So she calls Eben. And when he sees her name come up on the phone, you can see this look on Josh Hartnett's face, like, I don't want to answer the phone. So you didn't need the exposition in the scene before. You can just tell by his hesitation to answer her call, something has happened between them. He doesn't want to talk to her. That's all you needed. But obviously somebody said you needed the exposition, which you didn't. Anyway, he answers and he says he didn't know that she was even in town. So she kind of snuck in, did what she had to do because she doesn't live there. And then she was going to leave without telling him. So she says, look, I need a lift to the airport because he's really the only one that she knows in the town. He hesitates and then he says, look, I'm going to send Billy, the deputy, to pick you up, because she's like, oh, well, we can have a talk. But again, even by saying that, you know something went down with them and you didn't need the exposition of the scene before. And, you know, he knows that the only reason she wants to talk is because she's forced to, not because she actually wants to. So, and you can see he's still hurt by whatever happened. So you didn't need the setup of Stella. You just needed that scene, because that emotion that Josh Hartnett brought to the scene, because he's such a good actor, tells you everything that you need to know.
Yeah, I really feel that the reshoot scene with Stella saying that she's a fireman and saying that, giving the other person the line of, oh, I really wish you're going to work it out with, you know, Eamon is his name. So strange.
Eben, yeah.
Eben, like even. Giving the deputy guy that scene saying, I really hope that you work shit out with Eben, was not necessary for all the reasons that Dean said, especially the way that Josh Hartnett reacts to that phone call from Stella after she gets hit by the tractor, which is very, very sus, I should say. But it's just a really good scene to show that he's not in a good place right now. She's not in a good place right now. And this is something that they both don't want to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. So we get a short scene before this of like dogs being killed. Like, all you see is someone with a knife, like killing all these dogs. And you kind of...
I wonder why.
Right, I wonder. And they're not... Okay, let me just explain. They're not normal dogs. They're husky dogs. So they're dogs that would pull sleighs, right? They're those specific type of dogs that whoever was killing them is killing them, right? So Eben gets a call to investigate. So he goes and investigates the dogs being killed, and the guy that owns them goes, I don't know, like, who would have done this? Like, most of the people have left. And so Eben goes, all right, I'll investigate it. And then it switches to the deputy Billy. He picks up Stella. But as they get to the airport, it's too late. The last plane has already left, and now Stella has to stay. And she's like so fucking pissed about it. And then we switch back to Eben. Eben goes to the sewage plant. Now, this is another kind of precursor as to what's to come. He goes to the sewage plant when the guy working there says that he saw helicopter parts before they went through. It's like a metal shredder thing. It's like interlocking metal teeth that shreds anything that kind of comes into contact with it. That's a precursor to what's coming up. And the pilot is there and he's pissed off. He's like, I don't understand. Why would someone take apart my helicopter and like throw it like in like here? Like, why would they do it? Again, it's another precursor to getting rid of anything that could be possibly used to escape the town. Phones, satellite phones to call for help, sled dogs, and the helicopter. So I loved that setup.
Yeah, and I know I'm sitting here watching this movie in preparation for the conversation going, whoever's doing this is very smart, because whoever's doing this is putting them on an island and is giving them no way to get out. And I really like how that is sort of set up. And I really like how nobody knows what the hell is going on until later on.
Yes. Yes. So now we're at the satellite tower. And a man sits alone, kind of monitoring the screen, and he hears a scream. And it's the sound effects in this movie are creepy as shit. Like, it's the screams and the noises that the vampire makes is like unnerving. That's perfect. It's unnerving. So unnerving. So he goes outside into the snow to investigate. Doesn't know what's going on when he's suddenly like surrounded by okay, let me just say David Slade, the director, Marcelo knows this. I don't notice mediocre directing. I notice great directing and I notice shit directing. The directing in this is amazing. The shots that David Slade uses is so good. And I'm just like in awe of what he did to first make you feel cold, make you feel claustrophobic, and make you feel like, oh my God, there's no way out. Like the shots that he uses is amazing. And the shots that he used in this, when this guy comes out of the satellite tower, he uses these quick shots where it's like a quick flash of something black running past the camera. And then the actor turning and then turning and then turning. And then you go, there's something that moves really fucking fast. We don't know what it is. We don't really see them. And then the man is suddenly like surrounded by these kind of shadow figures who you don't really see, and he's so afraid, and you're like, what? Wait, show us, but you don't actually see what they look like until like further on to the movie, and then they all jump him, and it's a series of kind of quick shots, and they're basically tearing his throat out and drinking his blood, but you still kind of don't see them up close. You know that they're dressed in black and they've got like white faces, but you don't see like a close up of their face. But that's the first kind of killing scene, and so oh, they're vampires. But it's just a really creepy scene.
Yeah, no, I really like the scene because, like Dean said, it's very, very directed in such a way where you feel very, very claustrophobic. And I like the scene because the guy walks out there, and then all of a sudden, he's surrounded by these guys, and you're like, where the fuck did they come from? They come from out of nowhere, and I really appreciate that this movie pulls no punches, because when they kill him, like you see fucking throat blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And also the blood splattering on the snow is a really cool image. Yeah. So I thought, listen, I thought it was a great scene to introduce the main bad guys of this movie for sure.
So the man from the opening scene, the one that was staring at the ship that we don't know what the ship is, he's sitting at a diner and he's got this really interesting accent. I couldn't place where his accent was from. It's like this drawl, but I couldn't place where it was. I don't know. Where was the accent from?
Tennessee.
Oh, okay. There you go. So he had a Tennessee accent. And he's sitting at the diner and he's like, basically, can I have a drink of alcohol? We don't serve alcohol. Can I have this? We don't have this. And then he starts getting really fucking angry because they don't have what he wants. And he's weird. He's really fucking weird. Like he looks normal, but he's just weird.
He's off.
He's off. Yes, perfect. He's off. And then Eben comes in and tries to get him to go outside because he's an outsider and he sees he's trying to cause trouble. And the guy's like, no, I don't want to go. And then this guy tries to start something with Eben. Stella comes in and basically puts a gun to his head and is like, yeah, you better listen to him. And then they haul him off and like put him in a jail cell because they don't know who the fuck he is. Everybody in that town that lives there, because it's a small town, has gone. So they're like, who the fuck is this guy? He doesn't live here. Where has he come from? Like, why is he here? So that will be revealed later. But yeah, that's that scene.
Yeah, I really like that scene because it ratchets up the tension. It ratchets up the mystery as to who the fuck this guy is. I mean, we first met him when he was staying at some fucking ship, and that doesn't come back. But also, I like the scene because it shows that Stella doesn't fuck around. She can put a gun on somebody. Like, I think that it's a really, really cool scene to show that she is capable enough to handle herself.
Yes.
When shit hits the fan, definitely.
Yes. So now we cross to 3 pipeline workers that have just finished work, and this is what I've written. They get very dead by the mysterious shadow figures. The shadow figures, they come out and you see a little bit more of what they look like. And I love the design of these vampires because what's happened is they've got white faces, they've got dark hair, their entire eye is black. But the really cool thing is that I think it's CG. What they've done is they've CG'd in between their eyebrows. They've either brought it down or up, so it looks like their eyes are kind of slanted inwards, just like half, like a centimeter. and it just gives them this really creepy fucking look.
I love this scene because these two workers are macking on this girl. Well, you know, they're like taking bets as to who gets to take her home and who gets to, you know, give her the, sleep with her.
Yeah.
And I just like it because as they're doing the game, one of them gets pulled away.
Mm.
And then the one goes towards the darkness where the guy got pulled away from, and the girl goes running in the other direction.
Yeah.
I think it's just a really cool scene.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool death scene, I think.
Yeah.
So we're at the police station where Eben works. Eben's the sheriff. And his brother is there, and his grandmother is there as well. His grandmother works at the station.
I don't like his brother. It's like, I
don't like his brother either. His brother is quite useless as a character.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of his character for sure.
No, I think he didn't bring anything. He didn't bring a skill set. At least if you're going to have someone there, have them like he could have been like a techie guy or something. Have them have a skill that could help them, not just for the sake of, him kind of just but again, it could be from the graphic novel. So I don't know about these things. So anyway, he's at the police station and the computers and the phones have suddenly gone down. And the man that they threw in the cell, the weird guy that was looking at the ship, he says, "So helpless against what's coming. They're coming, and this time they'll take me with them. Honor me for all I've done." And now the electricity goes out. And so now you get a better understanding of why he's so off, because he's basically, I don't know, would you call it that they're familiar? Like he works for them in hopes that he'll be turned. Is that the right phrase?
Yeah. I mean, look, first of all, I'm like, wait a minute. Why is he there? Secondly, I'm wondering, is he like their Renfield?
Yeah.
Like
totally.
Like seriously, is he like their person that walks in the day to like get everything ready?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what he has to be.
Yeah.
Because that's why he's a little off. But I'm like, does he eat bugs?
I never saw him eat anything.
Yeah, that is true. And there is a point that Dean's going to get to that also dissuades all of that.
Yes, yeah. So Eben goes to the satellite station and sees the guy that worked there, because we know he's dead. He doesn't know he's dead, but we know he's very dead. His head's on a spike outside of the satellite station, and it's like, oh, shit. So Eben fucking gets in his car, and he's driving through town. He's got the speaker on. He tells everyone that's still in the town, stay in your houses, lock your doors, don't come out. The people are like, what's going on? He goes, look, I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on. Please stay inside. And we cut to a couple at home, and they're kind of just having a conversation. Then a figure very, very quickly jumps through the window, grabs the wife, pulls the wife out the window very, very fast. And you're like, holy shit. The husband races out after her. She's getting dragged under the house pretty easily, by the way. It's like if a human was doing it, they would be struggling. But, the fact that they crashed through the window, they pulled a full-grown adult out the window so fast, it shows that they're very strong and they're quick. So the wife is getting dragged under the house, and it's the husband basically is like trying to grab her and like loses her, and then she kind of it's a cat and mouse thing. And then the husband basically starts getting sliced. Basically, one of them comes out really quickly because they don't have knives, their fingernails are really sharp, so he just slices him. And then his wife kind of just disappears under the house. He's holding onto her, and then they just pull her under the house, and that's it. And that was a really cool scene. That was really visually, it looked really, really cool.
Yeah, you know why I like the scene so much? Number one, that tells you that these motherfuckers come in houses.
Oh yeah, no invitation necessary. Oh shit,
that's not
safe.
That is not normal for vampire lore.
No.
So that gives these bloodsuckers a leg up. And if you're in the house, they can come after you. If you go outside, they can come after you. Where are you going to go? Like, there's no place that you can run to that you're safe from them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's just really good. Also, the scene of the woman getting dragged under the house because the director of the movie does something so good. When the husband sort of gives up and you see the woman being dragged under the house for a final time, he does a POV shot from the husband's point of view.
Oh yes, he does. Yes,
it's just so good.
So Eben gets back to the station and he goes straight to this fucking guy in the cell and he's asking him what the fuck is going on. Like, what the fuck is going on? Tell me what's going on. I know you know what's going on. And the guy's just so uncooperative. I hate this guy. I fucking hate this guy. I hate this character so much. Not Eben, this fucking Tennessee guy in the fucking cell. And he keeps saying they're coming, but he's not giving them any more information. Eben handcuffs him to the bars because he's just like, oh, fuck this guy. And then he decides to head out with Stella to see what's going on. So they drive out and they stop having seen something, but we don't see what because Stella, they get out of the car and Stella gets out and he's like, she's like, get in the car, but we don't see what they see. They get back in the car and they drive when a figure, again, beautiful shots by the director. They're driving at quite a speed because everyone drives fast here. And you just see this vampire run up very easily and just jump on the back of the car while the car's moving at speed. I don't know how they did it. It just looked really, really cool. And he's on the top and he's trying to get into the car he's banging on the top. And it's like, what the fuck? Like Eben and Stella have no idea what's going on. He shoots it, but all it does is annoy the vampire, which basically says, even if you shoot them, they'll kind of still keep coming. So you have to do something else. And then they hear an SOS come from the station over the radio. And when they arrive at the station, there's like a massive, massive blood patch. And Eben's brother is gone. And the grandmother is dead. And the handcuffed guy says, they didn't take me, finish me off. So that was a cool scene.
Yeah. I mean that scene when Eben and Stella are driving back to the station, the vampire hops in the car. That's pretty cool. Because I'm like, how did they do that? Like, that's really cool. Sort of like indie filmmaking. Because I can't see how they do that without using CG. When Josh Hartnett's character goes into the station, he discovers that his brother's missing. The grandmother is supposedly dead, and he goes and meets a Renfield character guy. When he says they didn't take me, when he says they didn't take me, kill me, that says to me that he doesn't want to be turned. That says to me that he's there familiar, not against his will or against his will.
It just but so basically, he was the one that burnt the phones. He was the one that killed the dogs. He was the one that was doing all that shit during the daytime because he was their familiar. And then they decided, as they always do, like they use people. They don't turn them. He's just a dumbass.
And if they say they do, they're probably going to kill him first before.
Exactly. So we finally get a shot of kind of a lot of them, not all of the vampires, but a lot of them kind of together. And the leader, who's very, very creepy. Now, all of these vampires have names. I didn't write them down because they have names in the graphic novel, but they're not actually mentioned in the movie.
Yeah, by the way, the leader of the vampires looks like the lead singer from Disturbed, by the way.
This actor is awesome. He's so fucking creepy. He's the creepiest out of all of them, which he should be because he's the leader. But they have their own language, which a little bit of trivia before, I mean, it's not in my trivia, but the language that the vampires speak was actually like the production team went to like a linguist and asked them, make up a language. So this is a completely new, completely made up language, specifically for this movie, kind of like how they did for like Game of Thrones and stuff. So he says in his language, the heads must be separated from the bodies. Do not turn them. And it's interesting because the heads must be separated from the bodies. I think now I didn't.
Wait a minute.
I think that's because if they're not, then they'll be turned.
these vampires don't have to bite anybody. They just have to kill them.
No, but that's how they kill them. They bite them, right? So I think if they bite them, they're going to turn, because remember the guy turns later. So when they kill them, they have to sever their heads to prevent them from turning, I think.
Right.
This scene, the vamps wreak absolute havoc on the town. They're killing whoever they find. It's gruesome. It's as gruesome as possible. People are running because there's still like 100 and something people left there. There is this great drone shot that David, the director, uses of the chaos. It's from above, and there's just, you see the blood splattering on the snow. You see people running in every direction. It's like Pac-Man, right? Yeah, it's like the vampires are running after the people.
It's like Vampire Pac-Man.
It's like Vampire Pac-Man. It's such a cool shot. This is what I mean. Like this, if you just watch it just for the visuals of what he did with it, it's amazing. And then we switch to Eben and Stella, and they get to the diner where a handful of survivors are, like maybe like 7 or 8, and they're gathered, including his brother, and they all kind of try and decide what to do next. And they all decide to hide in someone, I didn't write the name down, someone's attic. As it's a safe space. There's like one tiny window. You don't even know it's there. So that's what they're going to do, because they don't know what these things are. They just know that they're killing people. They're strong, they're fast, and they need to get the fuck away. But obviously they can't leave the town. They can't go anywhere. So it's like they just have to hide for the next kind of 30 days.
Yeah, I liked that scene of our main cast getting together in a diner and sort of coming up with a plan. I thought that it was very interesting that they would choose to hide themselves in the attic. Because usually attics have one door and no way out. So if the vampires find where they are and get into the attic, they're all fucked because they can't get out. So I understand the need to protect yourself, but putting yourself in an enclosed space with only one door is a little bit questionable to me, unless I missed something.
No, I think it was the right choice, because there's only one door, which means there's only one way that they can get in. Yes, there's only one way that they can get out, but there's only one way they can get in. And attic doors, sometimes you don't even know that they're there. It's high. They don't know that they're there. You know, yeah. So I do understand why they did that.
Right.
So Stella and Eben are in the sheriff's car, and they're going to retrieve weapons when like 7 of the vampires, again, such a cool scene. 7 of the vampires come out and literally from the back of the car lift the car up and push it forward and flip it over. And it's so cool because it's literally like a wide shot. Like it's not, you know how some like shit directors like do a bunch of like quick cuts and like close-ups, so you know what's going on but you can't see. No, this is a wide shot of literally the vampires lifting up the back of the car and flipping it. It just looks so cool. And they're trying to grab for Eben and Stella. They're trying to get out of the car. Stella runs, and they're running after her. And then a snowplow fucking comes out of nowhere and like squishes some of the vampires that were chasing Stella, and Stella and Eben jump in the snowplow. So that was a cool scene.
Yeah, it's just a cool scene showing you that these vampires don't fuck around. I really like the wide shot by the director. Like Dean said, he didn't cheap on that. You actually saw the motherfucker pick up the car and go whoosh. I thought that was cool. I liked the scene with the snowplow, and I like the fact that Eben and Stella still are alive at this point.
So Eben and Stella and Bo, who's driving the snowplow, they get back to the attic, and all the survivors are there, and they're trying to figure out what to do next. Now, Eben says they need to go to the sewage plant and hold up there because it's the safest place possible until the darkness goes away, because they'll have everything that they need there and it's safer. But they need to use cover to get there because it's not close. And the vampires are everywhere, and there's a lot of them. I don't know how many specifically there are of the vampires, but there are at least 30 to 40 of them. I don't know. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. There are so many. I have no idea. I'm just pulling that number out of my butt.
Well, like where did these motherfuckers come from?
Well, that's what I want to know. That's the thing about this movie. I love this movie, but there's no, again, it's probably in the graphic novel, because I know there's 2 or 3 novels. So
it had no, but I bet you it had to do something with the ship.
Yeah, probably. So anyway, the people that read the graphic novel, you know, we're out of the loop. We don't know the backstory like on the vampires. I would have liked a little bit of that in the movie. Like where, like Marcelo's right. Like where did they come from? Where were they on the boat? Like yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I've interrupted you. Go for it.
Yeah. Because them being on the boat makes sense. It tracks with vampire lore.
So title card day 7. So they've been in the attic for 7 days. A woman walks onto the empty streets because nobody's there, yelling for help. She's injured. She's yelling for help and even looks out the little window of the attic and sees the girl like asking for help. But then he looks at the rooftops and he can see the vampires jumping from rooftop to rooftop behind her, which looks so cool. It looks so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then the woman, and then he says, they're like, oh, we need to help her. And Eben goes, no, look at behind her. Like he knows something is up because they're not attacking her. Why aren't they attacking her? So the woman gets to the end of the street. She reaches the vamps and says, I tried. There's no one. So this bitch made a deal to get her friends dead so she could live. Oh my God. And now they kill her because she's so dumb.
Oh.
Wow. These people need, I understand because preservation of life, you want to live, but you're going to rat your friends and family out to save your life? No, fuck you. Yeah.
That bitch is not, she doesn't deserve to live, man.
No, I'm glad she bit it.
No, I know. I really think that scene is cool with the vampires running on a rooftop, but I do like how Eben saw through her shit and saw that she made a deal with the vampires. And how he didn't risk him going out there and trying to save her?
Yeah.
When it was obviously a setup?
Yeah. So Eben goes out and he by himself and he finds the man whose wife was taken in the previous scene where she was pulled under the house. And he's under the house. And Eben goes, how long have you been there for? Because it's been 7 days. And you're thinking, how could he survive 7 days in next to no clothing? He's got like a shirt and pants on, and you're like, something's up. something's up. And then he comes out of the under the house, and then he looks at Eben, and he's turned into one of those things, which is why I said that's why they take their heads off. So because when they bite someone, I think they're automatically turned, which is why they took the head off of the guy that was working at the satellite place. They don't want to turn anyone; they just want to kill them. And so he tries to kill Eben, and there's this really kind of cool fight scene, and then Eben finds an axe and basically axes his head off, which is really cool.
That's cool. I mean, come on, a good vampire movie always needs somebody with an axe. It needs somebody with an axe. I love the kills in this movie from the vampires and the humans. It's just really, really cool stuff.
One of the survivors, an old man who has dementia, and I'm going to sound like a dickhead when I say this, decides, he doesn't want to be here anymore. He's going out for a walk. He's going down the street. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, let him go. He's going to get everybody killed. I don't care if he's got dementia. Let him go.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? I don't care what people say. I'm with you. Let the old guy with dementia go first.
He's going to get everybody killed. Like, no, and then he starts yelling. Yeah, he's dead already. And then his son comes downstairs and Stella and his son are like trying to stop him. And he's like, no. And then he sneaks out a window and I'm like, God, fucking just let him go. Seriously, honestly. And then the son follows and Stella's like, wait. And he's like, no, he's my dad. And I'm like, oh, he's going to die. And they both get dead, as they should. They should both get, again, I feel really sorry that the old guy has dementia, but he cannot be the death of all the survivors because he's got dementia. It can't happen like that.
No, but the other thing is that if you had the dementia, there's a part of you that's already dead anyway. Because everything that you are, dementia kind of take everything that you are, dementia takes away.
Yeah.
So it's like you're the Walking Dead already. So him being dead didn't bother me. Mm-hmm. The stupid son going after him, I was like, I don't care because you're dumb.
Yeah. The dumb people, I don't mind if they die. So anyway, day 18. They devise a plan to actually get to the sewage plant, but they need a diversion. So Eben decides he's going to be the diversion, and he decides to try and lead the vampires to his grandmother's house because she has an ultraviolet light, which they may not like because obviously they don't like the sun. He doesn't know this for sure, but he knows that she has one and he needs to lead them away so the rest of them can get out just to see if the ultraviolet light kind of works or not. So that's what he does.
That is being a hero, folks. Sacrificing yourself for the goodness of your group is a badass hero move. And I like it. I like it when heroes in movies that I like do that. So he definitely gets points for that.
So the remaining survivors, they make a stop at the police station first to grab some things. Eben makes it to his grandma's house and finds the UV light, aims it at the door, and when the door is opened because the vampires are chasing him, the one of the vampires comes in and it burns them, and you're like, oh, that's cool. But then they cut the power. I find this interesting. So the light works on it. This was only used once in the movie. So this should have been utilized to use more times. He used it once. He didn't even kill it. He burnt one vampire and like literally within 2 seconds they turned off the power. How do they know where the power box is? I don't know. But they turned off the power. Yeah.
Wait a minute. If they turned off the power, the ultraviolet shouldn't be affected. It's a light. It's not connected to the grid of the house, is it?
It depends if it's... Well, that's... what I was thinking is I would think it's on a separate thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's not. If it's not like a generator or something.
No, but excuse me. It was a flashlight, yes?
It was a... No. It was a... Like, oh, you're talking about if it was a self-contained light source.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, was it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Was it because if it wasn't, that's how I could see it turning off when they got the power. But if it
I'm not sure.
It shouldn't have turned off.
I know. No, I thought that was a bit... it must have been connected to the power because I thought it was self-contained as well. So when it turned off, I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. It must have been connected to the power. I don't know. So,
so strange.
So we go back to the fucking people. One of the survivors says that he's going to distract because they know that because Eben calls in and goes, yep, it worked, but now they've turned off the power. So now they know he's fucked. One of the survivors, Bo, he says he's going to distract them and he gets in his snowplow and he basically kills a bunch of them. And this is what I find weird. There's a giant chainsaw on the front of the plow. Is that common? We don't have snowplows here. I'm asking the American if it's common.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's also common to have chains on the front of the plow as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when he used the snowplow, the chainsaw, like there's this giant chainsaw on the front. Like I didn't notice that before. What did they use it for?
Yeah. Oh no, to cut trees, to cut, to discard down branches or snowstorms and shit like that.
Okay. I get it.
They use it for emergency purposes.
Okay. All right. Well, this is an emergency. That's why I was using it.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So basically, he kills as many. That's what I mean. Like, there's a lot. Like, he kills a lot, and there's still like a lot. And he jumps out of it because he crashes it. He jumps out of it, and he's in like a bar or something. And he has a lot of dynamite with him. And this is so. Look, I know we're talking about a vampire movie, but this was the most unrealistic thing. He lights the dynamite, kaboom, right? The whole fucking place bursts into fucking explosions, and then somehow he crawls out. He crawls out. He was standing right next to the dynamite.
Whoa. Hold the phone. Stop. Are you saying this guy lit the piece of dynamite? He's standing right next to it and he crawls out?
That's what I'm saying. What
the... That is a bunch of bullshit.
There's no fucking way.
That shit is some heavy sus, guys.
Yeah.
That does not work.
He wasn't even like burnt. Like, dude, no. What? But then when he crawls out, the head vampire basically crushes his skull beneath his foot, which looked cool, but I was like, yeah, but he wouldn't be there. But it was a cool like action, like kill the vampire scene.
It was fine, but it was so dumb because he should have been dead.
Yes, he should have been dead. So Eben returns to the others because Bo has distracted the vampires, and so he's been able to get away. He returns to the others, and one of them is infected. Now, I really feel sorry for this guy that's been infected because when you first get infected, you're still you, but you know something's wrong. And he hasn't fully turned yet, but he knows he has to die. Otherwise, he's going to kill everybody. So Eben takes him into a room and with an axe, and basically we hear him, killing this guy, which is unfortunate because, yeah, that was a really that was a nice scene. Not the killing, but the guy when he found out he was turning.
Did we see how the guy got infected?
Maybe, but there was a lot of chaos. He might have just been bit and just it was the little girl. They went into I skipped that because it was a nothing scene. When they went into like a grocery store, there was a little girl that was a vampire and she bit him, but nothing happened, which is why I didn't bring it up.
Okay.
So now we've got day 27, so we're getting close. Eben and Stella find the Deputy Billy at his house because we haven't seen Deputy Billy since the beginning. And he ended up shooting his wife and 2 kids because he didn't want them to turn into those things. But when he went to shoot himself, the gun jammed.
He ran out of bullets. Yeah.
And you do feel for him because you can tell that he's a shell of himself. And the acting by what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he played Crixus in Spartacus. I'm sorry, I don't know what his name is. The acting with this guy is just you feel it. It's just it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no. That I mean the scene with the Inman having to turn to kill that guy who turned was bad, but this is like 100 times worse because this guy had to kill his wife and his 2 kids. That's like your worst nightmare as a parent. Seriously? That right there is nightmare fuel, and that right there is reason to kill yourself. But unfortunately, this guy didn't have enough bullets.
Yeah, exactly. So Eben, Stella, and the deputy get to the police station, and they notice everyone is gone, and they assume that they must have gone to the sewage plant because that's where they were going anyway. And as soon as they try to go there, they get split up by the vamps. And Eben makes it to the plant, but Stella and the deputy kind of aren't there yet because they're getting stalked by the vampires.
Yeah, it's a great way to push the story forward, and it's a great way to move the story into the sort of the third act of the film. It's story progression. Also, I really like how this movie does not overstay its welcome, because there are some vampire movies that really stretch it out.
Yeah.
This vampire movie has a really good pace to it.
Yes, I agree. So now we're back with the leader of the vampires. And in his language, he says, "It took centuries for us to make them believe we were only bad dreams. We cannot give them reason to suspect, destroy them all." Interesting. They're the ones it's interesting. They're the ones that came to the town to kill everybody. And now he's saying, we can't give them reason to suspect us, destroy them all. Weren't you going to do that anyway?
That's stupid.
Wasn't that the whole point?
That is so dumb. That's so dumb.
But apparently, apparently in the comics, the story was all the vampires came to this town and was wreaking havoc without kind of the permission of the lead vampire, and he came to stop them from doing it because he's like, no, we cannot let our secret out. And I'm like, why didn't they go with that?
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Why didn't they go with that? What's the problem with
I don't know. That would have been a deeper storyline for the vampires as well, rather than let's just have vampires kill people. I don't have a problem with it, but it would have been more enriching for the story.
No, but if you have this graphic novel that your movie's based on, just go with that.
I know. I know.
Sometimes you don't really understand why writers make changes to the source material that their story is based on. You don't get it.
I don't know. There would have been no issue with putting that in at all. But maybe they wanted to make it more about the survivors and the vampires, but no. No. Anyway, back to it. So Billy makes it to the plant, but he's followed by a vampire and he gets jumped and he gets bit. And we know what happens when they get bit. Eben reaches him and tries to fight off the vampire that's followed him. And then Billy pushes the vampire into the shredder machine that was the setup from the beginning, but not before having his arm in it. Because when he threw him in, his arm kind of got tangled in it. And when he turned around, his arm was gone. And again, the acting by this guy is just fucking amazing.
Oh, God.
But then he starts turning into a vampire and Eben has to kill his best friend, which is kind of heartbreaking. So that was that scene.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, look, this guy, Eben's partner got it from both sides. He had to shoot his girls and his wife, and then become a vampire, get killed by. Oh, this guy just didn't get any breaks at all. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
So Stella radios to Eben that she's alive, but she's hiding under a car nearby, but can't move because there are heaps of vampires everywhere. Now, he can see her under the car. It's not far, but there's no way he'd be able to get to her without being seen. And then the vampires start basically burning down the town. They just start burning everything. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
This doesn't make any sense.
No, but it looks cool visually.
But I was going to say that. It makes no sense, but it looks cool.
Yeah. So they mentioned that the sun comes up tomorrow. They just have to make it till tomorrow, but Stella can't be under the car till tomorrow. She's in the snow. She'll fucking freeze to death. So Eben, because he loves her, Eben gets a med kit. Yeah. And he gets a needle and he syringes some of the dead deputies' blood, and then injects it into himself because he says he can't fight them as a human. He can't get to Stella as a human. And he begins to, that's so cool. It's so cool. So he begins to turn slightly and then basically heads outside.
That is so cool that he would sacrifice himself to save the woman that he loves. He would just be like, that's like the ultimate sacrifice. Come on. He's like, I'm going to go get my wife. It's just so cool.
So Eben heads towards the vamps and it's just a really cool fight scene. He fights the leader semi-unsuccessfully, getting his ass handed to him until the leader jumps towards Eben, and Eben basically puts his fist out and punches him right through the mouth, out the back of his head, and he's dead. And that's really cool. And all the vampires oh fuck, and they kind of step off. They're like, no, okay, he's killed our boss. We don't know what to do now because they're just little minions. Really cool. And then and then Stella sees
minion bitches.
Exactly. And then Stella sees basically what Eben has become. And basically she says dawn is coming, which is interesting because if dawn is coming, she could have lasted realistically maybe an hour longer. He didn't have to do that. Yeah. She could have lasted. And then the next scene, the final scene, which is heartbreaking. They're sitting on a ridge watching this beautiful sunrise and Eben dies in Stella's arms. But the way that he dies is really cool. His skin starts to turn into, what is it? Not dust. It starts to get dry out. I don't know. It just turn into paper or something. It just looks really, really cool. But it's heartbreaking. It's really, really heartbreaking because you really, really like Eben as a character. But that's the end. That's the heartbreaking end of the movie. But this doesn't happen in movies often. In movies, the hero is not often killed off. But when they are, you have to make it count. You have to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, it counted in this movie.
It definitely counted. So that's the end. Do you want to say anything about that, or should I go to my trivia?
No, it was it. No, listen, it was a heartbreaking moment, and I'm glad that Eben and Stella could sort of. They didn't really talk about their relationship in this movie, but I'm glad that they sort of could find their way back to each other a little bit, and I'm glad that Eben could have that final moment with his wife.
Yeah, we don't ever actually know what happened between them ever.
No, we don't. And they don't talk about it either because they're dealing with the situation.
Exactly. So trivia, this was originally conceived as a film, but he kept getting rejected by all the studios, and so then he decided to turn it into a graphic novel. And it was only after he turned it into a graphic novel that the studios went, oh, we want to make this into a movie. Fucking studios, man. Honestly.
Isn't that funny?
Fuck me.
That's ridiculous.
The studios are just fucking on another level of fuckery. I mean, they really are. The next piece of trivia is most of the night shots were actually shot during the day. The power of editing, my friend.
Day for night. Day for night.
Power of editing.
And let me tell you something. Shooting day for night is really difficult. If you don't do it right, it looks like shit.
Of course.
The guy who did it in this movie did a great job with it.
Yeah, so David Slade also directed Twilight Eclipse, and you can actually see 30 Days of Night in Twilight Eclipse. You could see it.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where?
Where what?
How? Yeah, that's 30 Days of Night in Twilight Eclipse. Is like, does he have a shot of the movie somewhere, or is like?
No, you can see the how he's filmed it. It's similar to 30 Days of Night.
Okay. He's found it. Okay.
Yeah. This entire movie was shot in New Zealand, so half the cast was Australian/New Zealand.
Woo!
Woo-hoo! Okay. Yeah, this is in my trivia. In the comic, the head vampire travels to Barrow to stop the other vampires to preserve the secrecy of vampires. Yeah, that should have been in it. So I've said that before. This was interesting. This is my last trivia. The snow in the film was not actual snow. Most of it was salt and CGI.
Oh, salt and CGI.
Fucking hell. Wow, interesting.
Okay.
That's a lot of salt.
Very, very, very interesting. That's very interesting. That brings a conclusion to this edition of the Mixtape Podcast. Listen, guys, if you like what we do here on the show, you can send us an email. Our email address is themixtapepod@aol.com. If you send us an email with comments, questions, or requests, we can give you a shout out on the show, and we will just say thank you for listening to our beloved show here. But if you are listening to our show for the very first time and you want to listen to other episodes that we've done in the past, you can listen to us on youtube.com. We are at youtube.com/themixtapepodcast, where you can listen to past episodes of our show. And if you like some of our videos, give us a like. And if you be so kind, subscribe to our show so you can hear more awesome episodes like this in the future. But if you're going to come back next week for our season finale, we're going to be talking about one of the best films to come out of the 90s, period and stop, directed by the finest director in history, by my point of view. We'll be talking about the film Jurassic Park. So, until then, for my fellow co-host, Dean Stark, and for myself, as I say often, if someone is ever kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must truly mean that they love you.
The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.